Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Talk About? I am the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and this, of course, is a Fanatics and WWE original production. Today, I'm very excited. My guest here on the grounds at the Buffalo Trace Distillery, the home of Wheatley American Vodka, we have a SmackDown superstar who is catching everyone's attention. The master, the founder, the originator of Kit's Fits, of course, his opening intro to his music and all of that has become a viral sensation everywhere we go. You're going to learn a lot more about him over the course of this podcast, one of the UK's great standouts, and of course, just someone we are very, very glad to have here on What Do You Want to Talk About? Please welcome to the podcast, Kit Wilson.
Cody, thank you very much.
Oh, no.
Thank you. Thank you.
You right there got something that looks quite special. What do we got?
What? I've got Wheatley's American own Runway Martini.
A Runway Martini.
Yeah.
With a little bit of Wheatley American vodka. I have the American Mule. Cheers.
Cheers.
To you, Kit Wilson. Cheers.
Now, I hear I might have some catching up to do, so I might go heavy with this. That's all right with you.
Yes. And the lore, too. We film and put podcasts together here at the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and I think enough of our audience is aware that sometimes I might go too hard, and then those podcasts wonder, hey, I saw a picture of them. Well, that's
Cody goes hard.
Yes,
hard.
that is indeed. You just, I think, beat the record.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
if we had a record board and somebody, and you knew where the backup was.
Oh, there we go.
So that is the definition of preparation, and as you know, that's part of excellence, something along the lines. Back to my guest, Kit Wilson. You said something to me yesterday. I did not know, and forgive me for not knowing. I did not know we met before Kit Wilson.
Yeah, well, I sent you a photo. Did you recognize anything there?
No.
It's I don't know if we can get it up on the screen, but very different
We
look.
will.
Very different look. But yeah, on that indie run of yours,
Yeah.
that was in the era where I first started. So maybe I'm 2 years into the business. And I guess we got some few funny stories. I wrestled someone from SmackDown.
Oh, wow.
That night.
Okay.
I wrestled England's own Nick Aldis.
Oh, my gosh. So you wrestled Nick Aldis.
Yeah. I believe you were wrestling maybe Will.
I defeated Will Ospreay, IPW UK?
That's the one. Yeah.
IPW UK, and this is where okay.
That's where I trained. That's where I started. It was in Kent, England. I used to drive there every week. That's where I kind of started. And I was afforded a lot of good opportunities, Nick Aldis being one of them. But I think the story I'd like to tell with that, Cody, is
yes.
I go to the venue. I'm kind of this is in the era I'm starting to get dressed up. I haven't got a lot of money, but I'm starting to look good.
Sure.
I come up to you. I shake your hand. He clocks the shoes. You give me a shoe compliment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also, Finn Balor, at the time Fergal Devitt, about a year later, complimented the shoes. I think I started strong fashion-wise with the shoes, yeah. But you were very cool. It was only 20, 30 seconds, a quick one. But I have the match with Nick Aldis. It goes well, at least for me. I'm not sure what he thought about it. Well, that'll be another discussion.
Nick's a little spicy, yeah.
Yeah, deservedly so. I look back now and deservedly so, Nick. I apologize. But I do a dive to the outside, and we obviously, as indie wrestling, so there's no mats. So I actually split open my elbow, and I got like four stitches.
Okay.
I'm in the back getting medical care, but who is the one person that comes to check on me?
Was it Nick?
It was Cody Rhodes.
It was?
Yeah.
Wow.
And, I'd spoken to Nick. This isn't disparaging Nick. And
Yeah.
Mickey James was there, actually, and she was, Mickey was sanitizing me, so shout out to Mickey.
Wow.
But who pops his head in to check on me? It was you. And at the time, that meant a lot to me. Because I didn't know that you were aware that I was injured, but,
I probably watched it with great interest because I was following what Nick was doing, and Nick and I would plug in with each other here and there. That's certainly... You got medical care from Mickey James?
Yeah. Nick was informing me about the match afterwards and kind of letting me know where things maybe went askew and what I could do wrong. And,
what kind of dive was it?
The one... Who did it? I used to do the one where if you're on the outside, I would hop over the turnbuckle and then flip over the turnbuckle to the outside.
Oh, Speedball. That one?
No, not quite Speedball. Bobby Fish.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I did that, and I think that was a double header, that show.
Yeah.
So I think the night before I did the same dive, kind of slightly cut open The next day, fully open.
Got it all the way then.
Yeah, you
Didn't really learn from it.
No.
The dive was needed.
I think I'm just starting to learn in this past year.
Yes. Oh no, and it takes. I mean, sometimes though the decision to do it is the right decision. Believe it, like in terms of hey, you got to go. Every now and then you got to go for it. Did this? I'm putting you on the spot here, putting myself on the spot. Well, was the house any good?
Yeah, it was. I think they.
Okay. All right.
They, I believe it was the casino rooms in Kent.
Yeah.
Maybe in a place called Rochester.
Okay.
And they generally did it was quite a good vibe. It was slightly nightclub adjacent.
Yeah.
But they were always family shows, so it was a good mix.
Wow, that is wild.
Maybe not as good for you, but good for me.
No, I mean, for me, it was about filling the room enough. And you didn't want to, when you did those and they carried, your name or whoever the big piece they were promoting or the person who had come from WWE or whatever, or New Japan or whatever it was, you wanted it to do well. Now we're really, I mean, everything is documented. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. And then just, it's scary, but it's also holds you accountable, I guess. I'm on I'm in my head on some of the things as of late about every single piece of WWE right now and every wrestling company. Somebody needs to share and put it out there. And I think what's going to happen is an overload of information to where fans just stop caring.
There's a lot.
Like, I watch the show. I like the show. I like this guy. I don't like that guy. I like her. I don't need to know how many people were in the seats. Yeah, it's wild. I don't know who's keeping all these records, but I'm getting tired of what do we need this for? What who's this for? They seem like it's doing great, Anyways, that's my bit.
Well, to that point, as a teenager, as a massive fan, as a kid, I was a massive fan. I'm kind of every bit of content I was taking in, but what never really clicked with me was the internet ratings, all these kind of slightly insider things. That was never relevant to me as a teenager because I just enjoyed what was happening on the show and I wanted to know more about the wrestlers. So I never really understood that side of it, from a fan's point of view.
I'm really in all the IPs that I enjoy, different shows I like, stuff like that. I never have any interest to me in what's the behind the scenes. It actually kind of spoils elements for me, especially with your bigger IPs like a Star Wars or something like that. Yeah, you hear way too much on the build up. I don't need to know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna show up and make my decision based on what I see. That's just me. I know, and I'm in the entertainment space, so perhaps everybody's different. I wanted to say, because you're talking about Mickie James sanitizing you, busting your elbow, 4 stitches, IPW UK.
Yeah.
I actually, UTC Chattanooga, which is an arena I hope you run at some point in your career, maybe for a WWE live event if they ever come back. As a little kid, I used to go to WCW shows there. Oh. And I had my backstage pass, which at the time I was so little was like this giant.
Yeah, like a big lamb.
Yeah, Doug Dillinger, shout out to him. He's the guy from Goldberg videos. He was like my dad's Commissioner Gordon. He was so I didn't realize he had a reputation online at all because I just knew him as an ex-police officer from the Carolinas who took care of me and my sister and was awesome. But he used to give me this big credential, and I'd go just find an empty seat. I didn't have a ticket, so I'd go find an empty seat and I'd watch the show. And I fell down the stairs, and they're wood stairs. I fell down not a full Cactus Jack rolling down the steps, but pretty close. Yeah. And I was missing school that morning, all ready to be there. So my mom's already probably not excited about it. But I cut under my eye, and I went to the back, and I was more embarrassed than anything. Getting towels. What do I do? I'm obviously I got to tell my dad. He's working. But Ricky Steamboat, of all people, set me down and patched me up. And I always thought that is wild looking back at it. He hadn't worked yet. He was probably in the main event. Yeah. That was just cool. Ricky, he just did a little cotton swab and looked at it and he kept pinching it and checking. He's like, I don't think you need anything, come back. And it was just really, really sweet. So there you are. You're getting patched up by Mickie James.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about, once you get a certain deepness into the business, you look back and you have these kind of checkpoint moments where you meet someone like that. You meet a Ricky Steamboat. You meet a Honky Tonk Man. Yeah.
You ever met the Honky Tonk Man?
Yeah, I did. There was maybe you did Preston City Wrestling.
We don't talk about Honky Tonk Man enough. PCW?
PCW.
Flutter? Hell
yeah.
So it was. I don't mind shaming it. And
Shame away.
I'm not gonna shame, but like kind of shame.
Semi.
He had me dressed in the middle of winter in an alley, and then like we had like there was a room. You know, indie wrestling. There's things like these stories you'd never hear on any other production.
Yeah.
But there was a room downstairs, like a party room, and I dressed in there and opened the doors to everyone can dress in here. It has heat.
Yeah.
Like it has heat, and we have to go upstairs and wrestle in a tiny 16-foot ring in a club that you could literally jump from one middle rope to the next almost. And I remember a party showed up like, well, that's our space. So we're not mad at them. They literally booked
they've
this.
kicked you out.
So they moved me and another wrestler who I will remain nameless to the alley. So I'm dressing in the alley in the middle of winter, and I thought, this is one... Maybe take this one off my list here.
Yeah,
maybe, yeah. So maybe not, because the fans were great and I was paid well. I'm not, but yeah, that was an interesting experience.
Yeah, they were good promotion for me, and actually it was Chris Masters that put me forward for PCW in a weird turn of events.
Yeah.
So I got on the PCWs. You know, I had some good matches there. I had a fun interaction with Drew McIntyre there when he was on that indie run in the middle.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he was doing a triple threat with Shah Samuels and Noam Dar.
Okay. Yeah.
NXT's Noam Dar. Noam, I think, was doing the Cruiserweight tournament at the time.
Oh, okay.
Late from a plane. The match had started already, and he's like 10 minutes out. So now we're at this point where Noam is going to come in during the middle of the match.
This is crazy.
I'm in the bad guy
This is
faction
crazy.
with Shah Samuels.
I've never seen anything like that.
No idea what's happening. We're panicking. Noam's entrance hits middle of the match. He gets in there, just gets involved. At some point, I know Drew's going to be standing tall, the ref's going to be down, and I'm heading in.
Yeah.
But again, I'm new, I'm nervous, I'm
Yeah.
English, I'm scared. Drew's a behemoth.
Yeah.
Ref's down, I see my moment, I slide in. I'm behind Drew. Low blow. I don't get to the blow. His thighs are so
Blocked
thick.
it, huh? Yeah.
His thighs are so thick, my arm gets stuck.
Yeah.
Grabs my hand, turns around and goes, we're going to need more than just you. Future Shock DDT. That was my Drew.
Did he mean that?
I felt like he meant it.
Yeah, it sounds like he did.
The fact that I couldn't get up due to the behemoth thighs, I felt that kind of got him some manly testosterone brewing.
That's well, I mean, of course, it's a perfect time to talk about testosterone and brewing and all that because you are right now on a current campaign defining and in dislike of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
What does where does that register for you in terms of? Give me an example of toxic masculinity. You don't have to. Just what's like a cut that out.
I mean, we can go deep, but I'll
Yeah.
try and keep it light. I think toxic masculinity for me is almost a lack of vulnerability in males.
Oh.
You know, as a true.
That's a real answer, actually.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Good for you.
This
Hey,
is,
cheers to a real answer.
Hey,
Thank you.
Cheers.
Non-pretender here.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, you know, we're always straddling the line of character and real life, right?
Yeah.
I think very much this era I'm in at the moment is very true to who I am. There's
Yeah.
a lot turned up to 11. I feel that. I feel like I'm in this thing.
Yeah.
So I think toxic masculinity for males particularly, even though females watch out because you can suffer. You can
You
suffer.
can suffer from it. Cheers. You can suffer from toxic masculinity.
But yeah, let's take a male for example. You know, in life as humans, we have typical masculine traits and feminine traits. I think men struggle to be vulnerable and open up with those feminine traits. You know, they feel like they have to go big on those masculine traits because really they're just kind of scared or vulnerable or shy or insecure. But the way to deal with that for a lot of men is to punch a hole through a wall. They don't know how to express themselves and express their emotions. Me, I'm a little bit feminine, I'm a little bit masculine, but I think that makes me a bigger man than Matt Cardona. I think that makes me a bigger man than anyone else on the roster. So not only am I trying to get to the top, but I'm trying to get to the top with a message to create a new culture within men and create a better man.
In your efforts to create a better man, and you mentioned someone who you thought was toxic and masculine as well, that being Matt Cardona, a combination of the two. Chipped your tooth, I heard.
Yeah. I went to the dentist the week after. Yeah, no remorse. And I grew up on the woo woo kid.
Yeah.
You think I wasn't watching, going woo, woo?
And here he is chipping your tooth.
I never thought it was going to get me.
Now, in his defense, and we have to defend him because one time in this very room I didn't, and he let me know. He says he kicked you, but the other side of your mouth is where the tooth was chipped. So he thinks it's not his kick that caused the chipped tooth. But I'm of the thought, having been in the ring with him, it probably was.
It was the other side, but I don't think he realized that's how bad the kick was. It comes here, it clenches the teeth down, and it kind of vibrates.
Yeah. The undisputed WWE Championship title is mine, and I don't plan on giving it up. Lucky for you, you can climb the ranks and earn your very own championship titles in WWE Supercard. The new road to immortality features WWE ID, Evolve, NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. As you challenge for titles each week, you'll gain and lose fans depending on your performance, allowing you to advance in your WWE superstar career. The titles up for grabs correspond with the real WWE schedule. Like the real show, you need to prove that you are the best to stay on top of the leaderboard. Download Supercard, flash the QR code, and claim my WrestleMania 42 card for free. Let me ask you, because it seems like your campaign here and your journey to do this, get to the top of the message, as you said, that's a lot in your job as a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
So it almost seems you're doing a little bit of you're doing far more than pro wrestling if you're after all of toxic masculinity. If I could say so, you're this is quite ambitious.
Yeah, I think. I think I'm leading the charge for this genre. You know, there's a lot of people fighting the good fight. You know, I'm an ally, of course, but I think I'm the one guy in professional wrestling. I'm not the one guy, obviously, but in the current landscape we're in WWE, in SmackDown, I'm fighting the fight, you know? And I truly believe in the cause. I truly believe that all the men, whether you're toxic a little bit or toxic a lot, you could benefit from, you know, letting your feelings out. You could benefit from being more vulnerable.
Nick Aldis, our general manager, he toxic or not? Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Easy toxic. Okay.
And I've gotten there. And if we're going to be a bit real, the man has helped me a lot recently with this.
But toxic.
Oh, still toxic.
Yeah, you said it. You can be friends. You can like this guy, but
it doesn't mean you can't grow.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a lesson in life to grow.
What about like the current locker room leader and kind of the elder statesman? Not that he's elder at all, that being Randy Orton. I've seen moments where he's quite vulnerable.
Well, yeah, look, I don't know Randy obviously as well as you. However, I saw him on Steph's podcast, on Stephanie's podcast. I think he opened up a little bit there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he can attest to it. I'm sure he got tons of messages. Him opened up the door for so many people to open up themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important message of this. That being said, toxic.
It's so two toxics now. Yeah.
Toxic.
And you mentioned a female can be. There can be, so I'll tell you one, Jade toxic probably, right?
Well, she's been nice to me recently. She's been complimenting me in how I dress. So
that can't be the only reason, though.
All right, toxic.
You know, like
Jade,
we like Jade. Jade's we're you know, she's a special part of SmackDown. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of who's out there being vulnerable, being aware.
You know, I've been doing a lot of
being transparent.
Well, I've been doing a lot of promos in the ring recently, and I come after a lot of the males in the audience. But don't you think I don't see the women undressing me with their eyes?
Yeah.
Toxic.
That's a toxic trait.
That's a toxic
You're not
trait.
A piece of meat.
No, and I say this all the time, but I get my kicks above the waistline.
Right?
Sunshine.
Yeah.
That's a line I like to use.
I don't know if I know what that even means.
I don't think you need to know.
Yeah, I got it as like it's developing, but now, okay, all right. Great. Thank you for there's a lot I'm learning. As we go, here's kicking back to IPW UK.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the business in total? Because that was 2 years in, you said?
Yeah, I think roughly we'd have to look at the date. I started in 2014.
Dang.
I started training then, yeah. But one person that I guess I would say early on was training me or did a few sessions with, Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's kind of a Kent guy, so he kind of popped in, did little bits with him. But
I was always surprised, A, he's taller than you think.
yeah, he's really tall.
But B, I might have asked you this backstage. I had my first independent match with him, and then I would wrestle him multiple times after that.
Yeah.
He was very, very stiff.
He is.
Not unsafe, but just you knew you were in a fight.
Yeah.
And I always kind of laughed looking at him like, who are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove here, man? Like he did the deal where I jump up on the second, he kicked the back of my foot.
Yeah.
Where I had a mark on the back of my leg. He left with me basically for a couple weeks. Yeah.
I know we got Flash Morgan Webster with that as well. Yeah, I think he's
out there getting
assassin,
people.
Yeah, but maybe that's toxic.
Is that toxic, or is he kind of one of those who can tie you up a little bit and wants to like?
Well, I think that
let
too.
you know.
I think that too.
Yeah.
I'm yet to wrestle him.
Yeah.
I only did a few training sessions, and again, this is so early in that he wouldn't see the man that I am today, even though we've seen each other down the line. But I'd love to get in there with him. I would.
So you're a baby in all this, man. I don't mean that it's different than what we've had on the podcast with.
Yeah, well, I thought that was very interesting coming into the podcast. I feel like you've had a certain level of guests who have achieved a lot, or they've done with their career and they're kind of Hall of Fame level.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like I'm unproven. And at this point, I think that's a very interesting point to be at.
Interesting.
For me, this feels like a checkpoint, Well, will I go on to do these big things I'm going to say I'm going to do? Because I am.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to take me. It could be a year. It could be 10 years, but I'm here.
Well, you said like unproven, and you've already proven things. But unproven, like, what's a short-term thing? What's something right in the immediate future that you're looking at and going, that needs to happen? Yeah, we know bullseye on toxic masculinity. Yeah. We know letting the world. I did something similar when I was doing Dashing Cody Rhodes. I was out there trying to explain to men how to self-groom. Yeah. How to take care of themselves. I was watching, and I was a villain for it. And I today, I don't think how.
I get a bit of a mixed response. I'm preaching a similar story to you, but there's a lot of people that are on my side. There's a lot of people that aren't, but I think that's the fun of it, right?
I'm very curious what it is you want to do next. I'll swing you one that is rather, you're probably going to go, what the? I was joking with you, very just locker room jostling, because I saw you at the Rumble, and you were leaving the show.
Yes.
And this is unrelated to you, this part of my rant. I'll get back to the other part. I now am really on the kick of why are guys leaving the show early? Yeah. I'm really genuinely not a fan of this isn't on you. This was you're not even going to wait till the middle of the show. What if someone gets hurt? What if you're needed? Carmelo Hayes one time when the audio busted in overseas, I had done a whole promo with Randy that if fans know, they saw a version from Keith Blomberg's camera on the floor because we had no production. And while we were figuring out how to do that and not kill a live audience, Carmelo Hayes was ready and ran to the ring and did a little something. I don't even remember. Those moments happen. So I've been really on this kick lately about where are you going? And like also a lot of the older wrestlers who are like in that grizzled phase, like we're all grizzled at this point, or we've all been grizzled. Like cheer up. Yeah. Cheer up. Like you get back in there or hide it. You want to be, like I've left plenty of shows early. I'm guilty as well. I've also hidden it. I never did it right in front of somebody. Anyways, that's the end of my rant. But you pulled me aside and you told me why. Yeah. And what I would say, and I was thinking about this morning, you were talking about you were not part of the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. And I think very much you wanted to be part of the Royal Rumble. Yeah. Yeah. What I told Carmelo Hayes, actually, here we are talking about him again, is the same thing I'm going to tell you now as far as, and we definitely going to have to get you another one of those. Yeah, maybe. Is I would say that's the last Royal Rumble you're not part of. Yeah, do you know what? I do think that was, again, we talk about these checkpoints along the career. There was, I don't like to go too behind the curtain, but there was a situation where I thought maybe there was, maybe it was a sure thing, and then something happened, and then I wasn't. So that day, I was kind of struggling with those emotions, which is okay because I'm not toxic. You're not toxic. Yeah. However, I do value your opinion. I do value a lot of other people's opinions. AJ talked to me that day as well. So the next day, I just came in, smile on my face, as I always try and do, but I made an extra effort on the day of the Rumble, smile on my face, and I just worked in every which way I could possible, not to put myself over, but I was doing the interviews. I was working with... you put yourself to use. I put myself to use because what else was going to do? And I was working with the China social teams. I do a lot with them. Ni hao. Jeez. Yeah. Ni hao. Yeah, ni hao. Well, I'm a fan. But I think that day as well, I kind of won over the Miz because the Miz kept on walking back. He's prepping for his match. He's doing his things. But he saw me like 2 or 3 times in the middle of, kind of pushing for things. Yeah. And I think that was kind of the impetus on the Miz liking me. I mean, Miz liking you is probably a great thing. I sent him a pitch actually 2 days ago. Oh, we're gonna talk about your pitches here in a second. Oh, really? Yeah, okay. I sent one to Mike 2 days ago, and I've only texted him once before. He's Hollywood. Yeah. And Cardona told me. Oh my God, very Hollywood. Cardona told me he doesn't reply. Yeah. He replied to you though, didn't he? I had a pitch, and he replied. He complimented me, and he ended with awesome. Wow. So he, little teenage buzz for me there. He's out there living the gimmick, huh? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the teenager in me, I loved it. Miz, such an incredible hard worker that I wish there's so many new guys who are coming up who are really, really talented. And I like Carmelo is one who's seen it. There's a few who are starting to look around and go, oh, I get it now. Like, oh my gosh, like that. These are things that we have to do in addition to, oh, I'm really great and I'm trained and ready to go. You know, like Miz is special in that sense. But you mentioned what you're doing that day and what I said. I really feel that, but I feel it twofold as far as that's the last Royal Rumble you won't be part of. But the reason I say it is, your growth on television is going to happen, and your checkpoints you're going to go through it. Don't stop at each one. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy. Try and take a little moment with each one. But the reason I'm confident in saying that is because I don't know anything. I don't book anything. I'm not in charge of anything. I know it because I know who you are.
Yeah.
You're not going to allow it to go by. And I think, you know, again, like, I don't want to put something out there that's not true, but one of the things, we'll talk about it, and if you don't want to share, it's totally okay. This is a story that I'm wondering if I should share. My part of it. Nah, I wanted to go to the office to see what life would be like at the office at WWE HQ. I had a career before as an executive vice president. I failed at it, but had some success along the way, but failed. Ultimately learned a great deal from said failure, as we do. That's what we need. But I wanted to go. I said, oh man, I'm going to treat it like I'm going there for a job.
Right. Okay.
I'll write a sample format. I'm going to write a full tech format, times and everything, and not a dreamer one. I'll take what we have now.
Yeah.
And put one together. I'm going to go and share that with Bruce Pritchard and the creative team, and I'm going to sit with them, and I'm going to go to CPG. I'm going to meet with Lee Fitting and his team. I'm going to meet these departments, and not the, hi, I'm such and such. Not that.
We can do that. Weeds.
We can do that in 3 minutes. I'm going to actually know, what can I really do for you? Like, community, what can I really do for you? Do I fit in anywhere? Because I got the bug.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, I didn't want to be unprepared, because if you came to me as a wrestler unprepared, I'd kick back, or I'd look for things to kick back on. So in that setting, I wanted to be ready. So I reached out to as many people as I could on the roster. I said, what's an idea for you? What's something you want to do? Some people called me. I got this. Some people didn't reply. Some people sent a nice little text with a perfect little simplified note. And I thought, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready if Ed or somebody asked me a good question. I didn't want to be unprepared. I didn't want to waste their time. You didn't send me a text, and you didn't send me a voicemail. I have in my phone 9 full-blown PDFs.
Yeah.
PDFs that, do you know, every meeting I was in, I almost spoke about you every time, because I couldn't even read through 3 of them at this point. Like, I was more stunned, which is the first thing I asked you. I said, who's seen these?
Yeah.
Like, who's seen these? Today's been a lesson in terms of everyone I've talked to today. And this, I don't know, you know, I don't want to dispense wisdom to you, but I'll tell you something I learned I was a overbearing, aggressively hard worker.
Yeah.
But I would let you know, look at what I did. I should be rewarded. You know, I was one of those, which in its way is very annoying.
Yeah.
The hard work is great, but man, like, everyone's process is different. What I learned through it all was none of it matters unless you're sincere in your ability to execute. And what I mean by that is, you can talk your way into any room.
Yeah.
Can you deliver when you're in the room? And I have just literally been so fortunate and happy to see. This was a few months ago, and within the few months, you're on TV, and Kit Wilson, just the song, the boys are singing it backstage. There's an energy about it, and there's a crowd that's starting to connect with it. That is the definition of doing the execution part. Yeah. So my lesson, if you would be willing to accept, is do all the things that you're already doing.
Yeah.
But make sure when the moment comes, you can execute.
Yeah.
Which I'm looking at you and know you can. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I mentioned you yesterday because Oba, Trick, Javon, I noticed with all three, they're not just ready.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to flounder. I was in a sink or swim culture of WWE when I came up.
Yeah.
Most would swim, but would swink a little and then come back up for air. And then we watched it. We watched each other on TV like, oh man. Then we watched Miz, for example, promo that's still sailing.
Yeah.
That changed his trajectory. He did it. We used to joke with each other. You just bought yourself 4 more months.
Oh,
that's it. Yeah, we used to make this joke. And that picture of me, Kofi, Punk, Cardona, like.
Yeah, Matt Sydal.
Right. Like that picture is that group. And when I was talking about those guys yesterday, I mentioned you as well. I'm so excited. But that is the thing. I love you. Don't do all the things. 9 PDFs, 18 PDFs, whatever it is. Just don't make that your reason ever for being angry. Do that work because you can execute. I would get mad. I did everything. I went the gym when they didn't go to the gym. I stayed through the whole show. I sat on the floor. Like I went through all that, and it became about kind of pocket watching and not about, at the end of the day, you're in front of a live audience and they like you or they don't.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes time to figure out what they're into. But man, you're just doing it.
Big news, WWE and sports fans, the world's #1 sports fan festival, Fanatics Fest, is making its return to New York City. Fanatics is bringing you closer to the leagues, teams, superstars, and athletes you love across 4 action-packed days in July. Meet your favorite WWE superstars, get your hands on exclusive merch, and interact with the biggest names in sports. Tickets are on sale now, and fans of the podcast can use code CODY10 at checkout for 10% discount. Head to fanaticsfest.com to get your tickets today.
It's so cool to have you on here. And to your point about we've had different type of guests, and like the like. So back to, and I hate to put you on the spot. Back to this, as far as
here we go.
What do you think that immediate goal is for Kit Wilson?
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the wisdom, and I'll take a lot more. I will say that, because I'll just, before I get into it, I'll say every time we speak, I feel like you say at least one thing that I just don't know. You know,
right.
I'm very much in a growth mindset right now. I feel like I'm on the precipice, but you don't know what you don't know. So you say something and it really opens my brain to a new way of thinking. So wisdom me up, I'll say that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Glad.
But But in terms of next accomplishments, you know, I recently came off the tag team thing.
Yeah.
You know, Pretty Deadly. I love, and Elton, shout out. I love you.
Shout out to Elton.
But we don't know what his future is, you know. So I've had to completely switch my mindset from being in this company with my best friend and thinking we were going to be lifers. Now I've fully switched over and I'm singles, you know, and I'm committed, and I'm going to be the best I can be, and that is going to be one of the best. So I think capturing a United States Championship, capturing an Intercontinental Championship, I think those are
in the immediate crosshairs, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's something I can achieve. I think that's something I can do good with, and I think that's something I can make work. I also think that gives me a bigger platform to show who I am and my message.
Those are great. Those are what probably you should be looking at. And then in the back of your mind, be looking at the biggest picture. And you never have to share the biggest picture. Most wrestlers can look at each other and know what such and such wants. Right now, there's a little moment with you, Kit's Fits. Tell me about Kit's Fits.
You know,
And where is my fit stand? My fit today in terms of.
Do you know what, Cody?
Kit's
You
Fits.
are dressed to the nines. Yeah, you're
I knew you were coming.
Yeah, you're kind of the 007 of the company.
That's the biggest Bond mark on the planet.
Oh, really?
My gosh, dude.
Well, let me say this: 00
This
sexy.
guy. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
no,
you.
honestly. And I tried to go a bit suit themed today for you. Let me say that. But clothes is something I've always had an interest in. My mum's a seamstress.
Of course.
And I think that inspires me. My wife does a bit of sewing, and it's something that I'm getting into.
Yeah.
I'm still at the basic level. You know, I'm making my little bags with a zip. I'm good with a zip now, but it's just something I'd like to get into, and it's something that has an interest in me, something I care about. So something I want to. It feels like a shade of myself and a shade of the character that I can bring in through social media that kind of gives layers, you know?
Dude, not to call you dude, but my discovery is you're not a character at all. You're that.
Well,
I feel like I didn't pick it up until just real. Man, you are you turned up.
Well, yeah, catch me on a Wednesday and I'm dressed the same. You know, catch me in Target and I'm.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you getting in Target? What are you doing in Target?
What am I getting?
I love a Target run.
What am I getting? I'm a big vinyl guy. So
They do have them, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll always walk. They have a limited selection. They have a lot of the mainstream stuff, but I'll take that. So I just got Charlie XX Wuthering Heights vinyl from Target. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally the food shop. You know, they do a good ground beef that's like 4%.
And you're making your own food.
I love to cook. Yeah. Again, me and my wife love to cook. We're cooking all day long. Yeah.
How long have you been married?
We got married twice. Let me say that.
Okay. Okay.
So
Double marriage.
yeah. How long did we go here? We were in NXT UK together.
Yeah.
Well, I met her on the Indies. She was wrestling in Japan. Shout out, legend Stevie.
Shout out. Double marriage.
And then we were in NXT UK together. Me and Elton got offered to come to NXT, so we moved. But I moved without her. You know, at this point we're engaged. So we didn't really know if she was ever going to get asked to come to NXT.
Yeah.
So we did a little Orlando courthouse marriage.
Solid.
Yeah, and I think you'll find a lot of fellow roster members have actually done a courthouse marriage. I've seen a few similar pictures.
It's USA, baby.
Yeah.
Get you in, yeah.
And that was August 1st. I loved it. Yeah, it was a fantastic. But when then she did get asked to come to NXT, she had a stint at NXT, and obviously we're living the thing. So then we went to Vegas and we got married in the mountains. And it was beautiful. And that was, you get me in trouble here.
No, don't worry about
September.
Yeah, you don't have to remember.
23rd.
Wow.
But the year is a bit muddly.
Yeah.
20.
You see, the date is fine.
Yeah. September.
He knew the date.
September.
I'm a September 12th.
Oh, okay.
So
there we go.
You knew the date. Just know the date.
Yeah.
You're good.
But we've been together 7 years. I love her. You're a dog guy. We've got cats.
Really?
I'm a big cat guy. The kitty cat.
Yeah.
But but just to jump back to the previous thing, I think the reason this hits so hard for me in terms of character and presentation on television and my future success is I think that I've hit something that feels right to me. I feel like I found my voice. I remember saying that to you on text maybe a month ago or something. I feel like I found my voice. Yeah. And I feel like this is the start of success, you know? This is the early days of what you'll look back on and be like, oh, that's when it clicked for him. That's when he grows.
Most important question I'm going to ask you because I think you're right.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah,
good.
I'm loving it. To speak to you saying just say yes. I know you recently said that to a group of us.
I was hot, dude.
I
was hot, man.
Well, I was on the treadmill.
Just do the appearance, guys.
Well, I was on the treadmill.
Please.
I was on the treadmill at home on Tuesday morning in my garage. I was walking. I was getting my steps in. Me and my wife were about to go to Disney, but I get a call and they say, "Can you fly to Chicago tonight to do some improv the next day with R-Truth?" And you bet I said yes.
Yeah, because I think my exact words were, "Challenge you not to say no."
Yeah. And I'm a yes guy anyway. I'm a yes boy.
I now am mad, though, that you missed this day. We owe you a day at Disney with your wife.
She loves Disney and we go a lot. I'll say that. Yeah. And Matt's trying to get me to go. I'm trying to go with Chelsea. I'm not trying to go with Matt.
No, Chelsea's a better, but don't. We used to go all the time. Really? And I had a child, and then he's like, oh. The place
ruined it.
The place is for children in the first place, dog. You see it through their eyes, man. Like, come on, dude. But he's not. We don't see each other like that anymore.
Really, I think we're on the same path. Actually,
we needed the conversation that him and I just had. It's been a minute. So.
Really,
yeah. You went and did improv with Truth.
Yeah, so we did Second City in Chicago.
Jeez.
Yeah, we did some training. Yeah, and I'm a big. Obviously, I'm English, so I didn't have these channels growing up. But I loved 30 Rock as a teenager, which got me into SNL. So I was watching SNL on YouTube, and then so I've always kind of been aware of it and known it. And then so as soon as they said, "Do you want to do Second City Improv with R-Truth?"
You got a favorite SNL cast member?
Oh, I love Carl Mooney. Do you know Carl Mooney?
Yes.
Yeah, Beck and Carl, them together.
Kyle is part of Street Fighter.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he is. Yes, he was. He was on. So we didn't cross paths on the set, right? But what was happening on the set was a lot of heavy hitters in their fields.
Yeah, you did
50 Cent, Roman Reigns, like a lot of heavy hitters. So every weekend was an event. Right. Hey, the director will be making dinner for the cast. Hey, the lead would like you all to come to this club. Hey, and you weren't directly texting. I thought, I'll take it up a notch and do a yacht. Let's go out on a yacht. Also, I'm in Australia. I don't get to see this at all.
Yeah.
I'll actually get to see a little of it. So I send the invite out. And she's asking, her name was Jackie. She's saying, who? I'm saying everybody, like as many people as we can get on the boat.
get 'em in.
The cast, whatever. And they were saying, well, do you make sure you invite Kyle? No. But we never crossed paths. So I was like, what? Is he in the movie? Like, and then he's obviously in the movie, whatever. But that was my one little interaction with him, and he killed it in the stuff he did. I'm not trying to give anything away, but he's so talented, and what a great pick, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I watched Beck and Kyle in Good Neighbor. They were their sketch group was Good Neighbor. I used to watch them on YouTube. So then they went to SNL. I was hyped. So Kyle Mooney, Beck is really big. Do you have a favorite? Because I've got a few.
Mine are old.
Yeah, because I'm a certain generation.
Like Norm is like mine are like old, but it's not not the nostalgia as much. I'm trying to think from a new perspective because I still watch pretty consistently.
Yeah. I like Mikey Day.
Yeah.
Mikey Day's really...
I might be right there.
And he doesn't really kind of... He's kind of quite subtle in his performance. You know, he doesn't...
Colin. I mean, they got a great crew right now.
Yeah, they really do. I think they're hitting.
Yeah. Because I was Kyle for SNL, only a hard right here, only because you mentioned 007 and you being, we consider anyone from England the expert on MI6 and the Bond program. And we also, most Americans probably think it's real. And hell, it might be.
It's real.
Do you have a favorite Bond?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think growing up, my generation, my first like video game console was like PlayStation 2 and GameCube. Yeah. But I was just young enough. Nightfire,
yeah.
I was just young enough to have like my older brother and my best friend's older brothers have the N64.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of time with the N64 in. So GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So I think when I picture 007, I think he looks like Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
However, I think growing up a little bit more, I start leaning towards Daniel.
Pierce Brosnan was my Bond. I like all the Bonds.
Yeah.
But Pierce Brosnan was my Bond. And I remember telling my dad that one time. My dad went off on
Who did you go for?
Sean Connery.
Yeah, that's my dad as well.
And I was like, well, I haven't seen these movies. Like, this is the first one I've ever seen. Like, I don't know the lore. Yeah. And then like Roger Moore's they're all incredible in their own way. And like currently where things are now, my gosh, as far as the series goes. But yeah, Brosnan, 007, 4 players playing. That's incredible. Your older brothers though, you said. Like that's older.
Yeah, that's my older brother. We had like best friends that we kind of had an older brother as well. It was them as well.
We used to do these things at my house where we would play old retro, they shouldn't be, but they're retro consoles. Yeah. So we do LAN parties. But this was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
My idea of a fun night, I don't like to go out. I'm very homebody. My idea of a fun night is to do, everyone comes to my house and I plug in 4 OG Xboxes to each other, 4 TVs, because I have an empty room where we just put them back to back and we do a LAN party. I'm saying this and I'm regretting every bit of it.
And what we're playing?
And then like RGB, like in terms of, we'd also have an old school 64 to upscaled. I ordered this thing off. God, this is so ridiculous. I have so much equipment in just boxes. But we'd play Halo, OG Halo, which was always a blast. And you have to get 4 Xboxes for this. So the amount of just hardware.
Yeah, we're going.
But we were playing 007. We're playing GoldenEye, right? When we would do it. Mario Strikers is another great. The OG. So we're playing GoldenEye, and there was a lot of young people in the group. To see a young person hold a Nintendo 64 controller, they're offended and they don't know how to work it. That in the center, like
the free
they don't understand how you're supposed to hold this. I'm like, well, technically you hold it here, but for this game, and it's really wild to see someone flat out not be able to play GoldenEye because they don't know, like, well, how's he looking up and how like it's auto aim. I don't know if you remember auto aim, like
slightly,
thing, or karate, that's the chop. You get up behind somebody. Gosh, that's a time. But Pierce Brosnan's your Bond, huh?
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan's my Bond. And to go back to the pictures, one of my pictures was a 007-esque gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really felt like I could, I felt there was something there to channel.
In WWE, every road leads to one place, WrestleMania. And every journey starts on the road to gold. Now that journey comes to life with WrestleMania Road to Gold only at Fanatics Casino. The game features 20 WWE superstars, from Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley to Seth Rollins, John Cena, and me. Get your money in the bank or win the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber with bonuses every step of the way. Every reward brings you closer to the biggest stage there is. This is WrestleMania Road to Gold, and it only lives at Fanatics Casino. Must be 21 and over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Not available in all states. See Fanatics Casino app. Where were we? We're talking about Bond.
I think we had like 12 different things on the go.
Yeah, that's the thing on our show, by the way. We're all over. We're all over the map.
Well, I guess I had a little bit about. I did want to talk a little. I don't know how to do it in time, but there was a little bit I want to talk about your boots early on.
My boots?
Your boots. Yeah, I was a Cody Rhodes fan instantly for one reason only. Me and my best friend at the time, Matt Anderson. Shout
out to Matt. A lot of shout outs today, by the way.
Yeah,
Wifey, Elton, Maddie.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah.
There was a Triforce on the boots.
There was. Saw my finger.
No,
yeah, it's
I
right
didn't
there.
know that. Well, so I guess this was my question.
I live that shit, dog.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, they don't need to know.
I live
now
that
they do.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, I love Zelda growing up. I was a big Nintendo guy.
Yeah.
I've weaned off. I'm not really a video game guy now.
Coolest guy who's come on this podcast. Yeah,
Here
ahead.
we go.
Yeah.
But you had the Triforce on your boots, obviously because you like Zelda, but in terms of the character, did you think of a reason?
100%.
Or did you think,
I
like this?
I thought the principles of the Triforce, which are
three.
power, courage, and wisdom. And for those who don't know, Zelda's the wise one. Obviously, Link is the one who's got the courage, and power is Ganon. They make up the three parts of the Triforce. That's the whole deal. And I just liked the idea of thinking and leaning towards your own wisdom or what you've learned and applying it, of being ambitious and wanting to, seek or be powerful if you can in a world that's competitive of sports and sports entertainment, and then having the courage to do it. Here you are, you're taking a dive, you bust your elbow, you're gonna decide to take the dive the next night and you bust your elbow even further. I thought it was just applicable. I also got a cease and desist from Nintendo.
No,
so it's
really?
It was very kind. I wasn't. They
It
weren't
was polite.
They weren't coming after anybody.
They're friendly, yeah.
I'm not the first guy to have the Triforce. But yeah, you liked the Triforce.
Yeah, that and at that age I was playing Zelda. I was deep in Wind Waker or maybe Twilight Zone. Maybe I'm not sure what era.
Twilight
that was.
Princess is
Twilight Princess. Sorry, my bad.
It's such a great. People don't realize it's wrestling. Twilight Princess is a story about wrestling.
Oh.
Fans like what they like, and when they get vocal enough, whole worlds can change. And I know this firsthand. My whole world changed because of fans being vocal enough. Wind Waker's a great game. They just weren't ready for how it looked.
Yeah.
They weren't ready, and they had grown up enough with the series that they wanted. Wind Waker's a great game. They had wanted, where's our edgy Zelda? Where's Link? Where's he's growing? Where is it? So here comes Twilight Princess, and I believe it's the best selling. I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, probably by breath, and those have, from that era, the linear 3D models, but it's an incredible game. Twilight's great.
Yeah, well, at the time, I was obviously the biggest wrestling fan, but video games were a big thing for me as a teenager. Yeah. So to see that, it was just a small little link to make me go, okay, Cody's my guy. So from that era, I was in.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm out now. I played Breath of the Wild in COVID, but it's getting a bit complicated now. I'm kind of getting old. Even I'm not old, but I'm getting older to the point where I'm struggling.
No, dude,
with the
I'll
buttons.
tell you something I shared with my digital friend. He said, I was telling him I play Ghost of Yotai or Yote. I don't know. I'll play it, get super involved over the course of a night, and then I go to work.
Yeah.
So then I come back 2 weeks later and I pick it up and I don't even know which direction, how to go. And I thought I'm never going to beat this. And when people are like, it took you 6 months. Yeah, it did. I'm playing this in drips, guys, We like to play this game here on What Do You Want to Talk About, which, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The room can hold me to it. We're going to look for a part 2 with you.
Yeah, well, I'll take that.
Because you brought up the point about being at a certain point in your career and checkpoints. I'd like to be there on whatever the next checkpoint is, and the checkpoint after that and all that. You have a home here on this pod if you are so inclined to join us. Anyways, we play this game here, making up myself, Wheatley American Vodka, who's provided this awesome mule and both of these runway models. I consider myself in Wheatley American Vodka, the American Dream Team. I'm going to ask you, what's your dream team? And I'll make it easy.
Yeah.
Survivor Series, War Games, but we've had everything. Animals, doesn't matter. It's your dream team. Who's going with you towards your future checkpoints?
And are we doing? Is there a certain number?
You know, it's easier to say 4 or 5, but just go from the heart.
Go from the heart.
And they can be toxic if you want them to be, but
Well, we need a few sacrificial lambs.
Yeah,
right?
honestly, smart booking right there. Yep.
Sacrificial.
Couple guys who can take the loss. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
Well, maybe sacrificial Sami Zayn. Let's get him on there.
Wow.
Nice and early.
Damn, dude.
I think he can run his mouth, and let's get him out. But
Jeez, your dream team is uniquely booked. Okay, Sami Zayn.
Yeah. I will take my wife, who gets valeted by the 4 cats.
I love that. That's
a little beautiful.
Yeah. What an image.
Yeah.
What an image.
It's an image. Yeah. And I'll take Elton Prince to Pretty
partner.
Deadly. Let's get him back.
Yeah.
Who else do I want? Maybe I'll take. Do you know what? I'll take the Miz, but not the Miz. The Miz from the Marine 3, the character. I want the Marine.
Do you know what the character's name was?
I couldn't tell you his name.
Let's look that up. Miz from the Marine 3.
Yeah.
Your wife, valeted by the cats, Sami Zayn. And your partner.
Yeah, and maybe let's go. Oh, do you know? Actually,
Yeah.
I grew up a massive. John Cena was my guy.
Yeah.
John Cena was my guy, but I think someone else who I always think about, and I constantly kind of think about the memories I had as a child and kind of perfected those memories. Umaga.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Umaga, John Cena, Royal Rumble, my favorite
That's
match.
a great team.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm getting Umaga on there. Yeah.
So we've got Umaga, we've got Sami Zayn, we've got your partner, we've got your wife, we've got the cats, and Miz. But not the Miz. Sergeant
Jake Carter.
Sergeant Jake Carter. That's a great team.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you one question about Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
I watched Pretty Deadly while I was injured because I was asked to do a little, side, hey, what do you see over here? And I watched. Was there a tag team that inspired what you guys were doing? Because what it gives, and sometimes on the surface, what it gives is almost insulting if you really think about it. But what it gave was very Midnight Express, very old school tag team meeting modern, as Arn Anderson would say, the high tech stuff.
Yeah.
What was there a team that inspired what you were doing?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think so. The big team that kind of started off was the Revival. They were the big one, and I'm a massive American Alpha fan. And
great.
The American Alpha NXT run, I think, is 10 out of 10. I think it's flawless. That's my favorite tag team. Apart from they're not my favorite tag team just because lengthwise they didn't get that longevity.
Well, shout out to both those teams because you being so young, those teams had an impression on you.
Yeah, Jason Jordan, incredible. Like they were firing as I was like starting wrestling as we were forming the team. So it was
Very
incredible.
interesting.
But yeah, the Revival got us to the Midnight and all those classic teams. So we very much had an old school approach and an old school feel that we wanted to capture.
Yeah.
So the Revival and American Alpha is about as modern as it goes, but we were going back. We were going back.
What's old is new, and then put the new stuff in it, and then then it becomes its own thing.
Exactly right. We were trying to capture that, and I like to think we did it. I still think there was so much more to do. Maybe one day we'll get there.
Sure.
But yeah, that was that.
Wheatley American Vodka, WWE and Fanatics original production. This right here is a little jingle. Real American commercial. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly. If you could replace the word neatly with any word, what would it be?
Wheatley, so good I drink it weekly.
It's great.
Bang.
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 Cheers to you. You've drank that.
Cheers.
Drank us out of the
I'm in
Wheatley.
deep.
Yeah, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to talk about? Kit Wilson. There it is.
Thank you again.
Dude, thank you. That was so fun.